This is Ian Summerall, gunmaker for Country Sports TV. I've had a very disturbing email this morning. Over the last 2 days, the ECHA of the European Union have been looking at a total lead ban for shooting. What's happened? What's the result? I don't know. We know that John Swift of the Lead and Ammunition Group has been lobbying the EU commissioners to bring in a total lead ban for shooting as chairman of the Lead Ammunition Group. Lead Ammunition Group was set up by the last Labour government, and John Swift was made chairman. Being that he worked for Basque, we thought he was going to be on our side. How wrong we were. Anyway, John Swift became chairman. Basque told me they didn't have anything to do with it. But lo and behold, John Harradine was advising them, and he was linked with the WWT and RPBS, wrote a lot of the scientific papers, so-called scientific papers they were looking at on lead shot. And after the first couple of meetings, Basque also ran the secretariat for the Lead Ammunition Group. And that wasn't the end of their involvement. They also ran the Lead Ammunition Group website. So Basque had the chairman, Basque were running the secretariat, and they were running the website for the Lead Ammunition Group. Lead Ammunition Group was set up with WWT, RSPB, some scientists, the government, and the shooting organisations. Basque's logo was on the start of the website, and the Basque logo was there. When Basque took over running the website, their logo was removed, and I questioned it at the time. I never got a satisfactory answer, but I asked why the Basque logo had been removed when they were doing all this work for it. Now, before we had the Lead Ammunition Group, we had a lead steering group before that, with Basque working with the WWT to set up the Lead Ammunition Group. I got the minutes for that, and I've put them on the Lead Ammunition Group on Facebook if anybody's interested in reading them. What they did was the RSPB was brought in as a corresponding member. Anyway, they would send the minutes to the RSPB, and they were allowed to make comments back. So then the Lead Ammunition Group was set up. Luckily, the CA under Sir Barney Spanner walked and took the other shooting organisations with him. So you did not get a complete report from the Lead Ammunition Group. The Lead Ammunition Group wrote to the government recommending a lead ban, with John Swift as its head. The shooting organisations wrote a better report in favour of lead and didn't want a lead ban, and that was under Sir Barney Spanner. Liz Truss at the time wrote to John Swift and told him that the government were not persuaded that a lead ban was needed. I worked for 6 years on that on my own. I had a couple of friends help me, and one of them worked in the mill and was feeding me information, what he could. I got the minutes from the Basque committee, which said that members should be made aware that there was going to be a lead ban sooner rather than later. That was never made public. That was never published. I published it. And I said Basque were trying to get lead ban. Now, I made that comment, and Basque tried to take me to court for it. The problem I had is I only had information that had come to me privately. I never had it in black and white. I never had a video, an audio, or any black and white paperwork that could prove it. But I had two bits of information that made me make the statement that Basque were willing to see a total lead ban for shooting. That was, I saw a letter when I worked for the civil service in the 90s. This must have been around about 97, 98, before the lead ban for Wild Valley. If you work for the Department of the Environment, if you work for one section, the other section could ask you to come in and advise them if you had an expertise on something. So as a shooter, I was asked to go to the biodiversity division of the wildlife group, the wildlife department. And the doctor of zoology asked me, what's all this about? And she showed me a letter from Dr. Harradine. In the letter, Harradine agreed with everything that the WWT and RSPB were saying about a total lead ban. He said that the problem was trying to persuade their members to give up lead, and that was the lead ban for wildfowling. But I believe the same thing applied for the whole of shooting. And then the other bit of information I had was the Deer Initiative. John Swift came and gave us a talk, as he was made chairman of the lead ammunition. This was in May 2010. He said there was no justification in using lead and we had to find an alternative. And in that bit of information, as CEO of Basque, and the information I had from Harradine, I concluded that Basque were working to get a total lead ban for shooting. That was my conclusion. I said Basque are trying to get lead banned on my website, and they tried to take me to court for it. We had letters go backwards and forwards. I was threatened to start with, and I didn't remove it. I then had a letter listing all the things that I'd said and how wrong I was, and there was no proof. It ended up that they sent me a letter with draft court papers. I was worried. I had a couple of sleepless nights, but I knew I was right. But I had no money to fight a court. I couldn't go to court. I had no lawyer. I had no barrister. I couldn't afford to go to court. And the only thing I could do is remove the comment I had on the website. But then the John Swift emails came out. As John Swift, as chairman of the Land Ammunition Group, was writing to the government, giving them an update of what was happening, he told them that he'd been working for 40 years on this. Now, John Swift, as CEO of Basque, was hiring staff. Do you think he would have hired staff that were thought like me? Would I ever got a job with Basque, with the way I think about lead shot and how bad I think steel is? So I think John Swift hired people that thought the same as he did. And I think there was a group of about 6 of them that were pro-lead ban at the top of Basque members of staff. 2 of them have retired, Harradine and John Swift. Now, how do those 4 that are left, do they still hold the same views as Harradine and Swift? I don't know. Are Basque going to fight a lead ban when it comes in? I very much doubt it. I haven't seen any evidence that Basque would fight a lead ban. They're being very quiet on it at the moment. If I'm wrong, then Basque, please let me know. If you want to make a statement that you are going to fight a lead ban for shooting, then please let me know. I'll interview you. We'll do a video for YouTube. No problem. But if John Swift is still campaigning to get a total lead ban with the other green organisations, this is totally anti-shooting. I don't believe it's for environmental reasons at all. I think it's to disrupt shooting. I think that's the end game. And this is one way of disrupting shooting, is by banning lead. Some shooting companies are under the illusion that they're going to sell more guns if there's a lead ban, because we have to buy guns that we could use steel in. I think that the number of guns that are going to be scrapped is going to be frightening. English guns are going to be worth nothing. What's a Purdy game gun going to be worth if you can't use steel, lead through it? Sorry. What's a Purdy game gun worth what? 30 to 40,000 now? A second-hand one, tidy? What's that going to be worth if there's a lead ban? It was designed for lead. It was proofed for lead. And I don't think that standard steel cartridges are fast enough to do the damage. I think you'll get too many wounded birds. This is the problem with steel. Steel is not as good as lead. Full stop. And I'm not going to say you can't use it, and I'm not going to say it will not kill. But it will not kill as good as lead. Lead is the best material we've got. Steel also causes problems. What happens to the environment when you put steel in it? Is it going to be worse than using lead? Lead is inert. It takes 2,000 years for lead to break down. They're digging Roman remains now where they got lead pipes, and the lead is only just dissolving in the soil. It's breaking down after 2,000 years. So lead's inert, it's solid, and I don't think there's a problem. Steel, on the other hand, will rust, and it'll start rusting straight away. Some of the photographs I've seen of clay shooting in Holland is they got no grass at all. It's like a yellow, orangey rust all over the ground where all the steel shot is. Well, what effect is that having on the environment? They go on about biodiversity and saving the planet. Steel is more of a pollutant than lead, in my opinion. Now, what the results of the last 2 days of meetings, I don't know. Are they going to come out and recommend a lead ban? I think that's what they're plugging for. Are our shooting organisations going to stand up and fight it? According to my sources, the email I had this morning is that the shooting organisations in Britain are quietly, on the quiet, saying nothing to nobody, looking at a voluntary ban on lead. I think that's frightening. Who's there to fight for us? Surely one of the shooting organisations is going to stand up and say, we got to fight for lead. Somebody has got to. The science isn't there. You know, not only is steel a pollutant and will rust and cause problems in the environment, what's the problem with plaswads? They want to stop plastics going into the countryside because of biodiversity. Oh, they've now got biodegradable wads, I'm told. It dissolves in water. But surely that's putting microplastics in the water system that we don't want. So it's causing more pollution than using felt wads. And somebody's got to start standing up and fighting for us. I can't do this on my own. The only way I can fight is by writing to my MP, doing little videos on Country Sports TV, and using my Save Lead Shot Facebook group. But my Facebook group's only got just under 300 members. How many people are going to see this video? 200, 300, 500, maybe 1,000? Now, the only way we can get this information out is by you helping me. First thing you've got to do is like the video. And there's a like button on here. Thumbs up. Next thing you've got to do is share it. Share it on social media sites. Save it on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want. Any Facebook group that you're on involved in shooting. Save it on the Pigeon Watch group. On the forum. I can't put it on there because I've been banned. I've been banned for telling the truth. Why did I get banned from Pigeon Watch? Because I told the guy he didn't have a clue what he was talking about. I had some bloke on there from Basque telling me that you couldn't use steel in Damascus barrels. Now, got to remember, I'm a gunsmith. Gun making is my game. That's what I do. That's what I've been trained to do. I got apprenticeship papers that tell me I know what I'm talking about. A gun is proofed for pressure, not for the type of shot used. It's either proofed for standard proof, which is 2.5 inch, which is now 70mm cartridges, or what we would call magnum proof or high performance proof, they call it now, and they put the fleur-de-lis on it. That's 70mm or 3 inches, which is 2 3/4 or 3 inches. Now, the gun isn't proofed for the shot, it's proofed for the pressure. So you've got standard proof guns and high performance gun. Wildfowlers like to use them with the fleur-de-lis on, and they call that steel shot proofed. It's high performance proof, not steel shot proof. Higher pressure cartridges, which have got the fleur-de-lis on, are better cartridges than standard proof because the shot is going faster. But the shot only gives you about 4 yards extra range. It's not a lot. In the scheme of things, if you're shooting birds at 30, 40 yards. And I think steel shot is going to give you more wounded animals than you kill. In my opinion. Now, what's going to happen if we get a lead ban? And we all go to... We've got standard proof guns. We're going to use lower velocity steel cartridges in standard proof guns so we can still use the guns. Because a lot of us can't go out and buy new guns. So the steel is not as good as the lead. If you're using steel, you're going to have to start shooting birds closer. That's why there was a campaign to stop high bird shooting. Because they didn't want people to shoot high birds. Oh, it's all linked. All this is all linked. This has been worked out for years. They've been trying to campaign to disrupt shooting for years. This isn't something that's happened overnight. And the campaign for smaller bags on game shoots is also linked with this. Don't take it in isolation. This is all linked to have a go at shooting. They want shooters to shoot smaller bags. They want to stop high pheasant shooting. They also now want to stop you using lead. It's all linked to have a go at shooting. Now, who's there to fight for us is a question I keep asking. I cannot fight this on my own anymore. I'm just one guy with a microphone and a camera. I can't fight or have any influence on anybody. All I can do is try and persuade you as shooters to get off your ass, scream and shout and say, what the hell's going on? Who is there to fight for us? And if any shooting organisation is willing to come and have an interview with me, I can do a Skype interview if you don't want to drive down here. I will interview you and you can explain what you're doing to save lead. And if you are, I will support you. Steel is bad for guns. I was talking to a gunsmith a couple of years ago. He had 2 AOA number 1s. Top grade AOA pair side lock shotguns. Both guns were scraped all the way along the bore because the guy been on a pheasant shoot. They went a duck drive at the end of the game and he was using steel. Even with plas wads, the steel was being forced through the plastic wad and scraping the barrel. And he had scores, straight scores, from the chambers all the way down the barrel. The guy who was boring out the barrels was asked if it would bore out and stay in proof. He could not bore the barrels out clean and keep them in proof. He had to take out 12 thou to get those barrels clean, and the guns had to go back to proof. The guy whose guns they were, I'm told, has never used steel again. There are photographs that Tim Woodhouse gave me. Now, Tim Woodhouse writes for American magazines and American shooting forums. He gave me photographs of damaged barrels with steel shot. Now, what happens with cartridges if you use steel in cartridges? Steel rusts. How long can you hold cartridges and they still be safe to use if the steel rusts? Is it going to pull together? I suspect it will in time. You know, you wildfowlers out there, have you had any problems with steel shot balling where the shots rusted together in your cartridge? Because you're going to find it out first, being on the salt marshes. You know, are we going to have to put a sell-by date or a use-by date on cartridges? You know, buy cartridges one season and then not be able to use them the next in case they rust. I think it's a problem. I think the steel in the environment's going to be a problem. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Steel rusting in the environment could be more of a biodiversity hazard than lead. Lead is a natural substance. I know steel's a natural substance, but lead doesn't rust. I think somebody's got to look in it. Someone's got to do the science on it. You know, who's on our side? Who's helping? So, advice again, and it's up to you as shooters to all stand together, is like the video, share this video where you can.